What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 13. I wanted to get this out before Episode 14 airs tonight. So, a couple of things I just wanted to talk about in this particular episode. The guys have arrived in Atlanta for their guys trip slash business trip. And the trip is for a wine tasting. Martell's manager, Melnika, she has arranged for them to stay in this beautiful 18,000 square foot mansion. Melnika greets them at the door when they all arrive, and she is wearing her dress of sparkly confetti. She's showing thighs, she's showing mad cleavage. Melnika looked really cute. So all the men first, when they arrive, they call their wives, let their wives know, hey, we made it here safely. After talking to their wives, they get dressed, they go downstairs, and there is a group of very attractive women, all seated downstairs waiting for the men to arrive. So Martell says that it's mostly women who buy and drink red wine. And so his core customer base is going to be women. So he needs to cater to them. And this is the reason why he has, this plethora of beautiful, gorgeous African American women there to do the wine tasting, to help them with the wine tasting. So the men are looking a little bit surprised and confused because you never know what Martell is up to. Martell, he's a bad, bad boy. And he likes to, ruffle the feathers a little bit of his friends and their wives. So the men were kind of cautiously like, okay, what's really going on here? And, they finally find out that, hey, the reason why is because the core audience is going to be women, not the core audience, the core customer is going to be a female. And so Martell has to get the female opinion about his product. So Martell says in his confessional that women are the largest consumer of red wine. The guys are going to have to go home and explain to their wives that Martell had nothing but women there. So we're going to see how that goes. He's such a bad boy. I mean, he's constantly trying to push the envelope with his friends, his married friends. And Martell, their marriages might not be as weak as yours was. So their wives probably have nothing to worry about. So they all sit down to eat dinner and to also taste the wine. Everybody gives their opinion, and all of them really like the wine. Now, Melnika introduces a game where each guy has to sell the wine to them. So they all take their turn to say something witty, to say something really funny and smart, to sell their bottle of wine. And they all did really good, but Big Lewis took the cake. None of the guys were like, they didn't say or do anything out of pocket or over the line, except when it came to Big Lou. So when it was his turn to sell the wine, he said something about opening up a bottle of wine and spreading them legs or something like that. And it was hilarious. It was so, so funny because he has a lot of pent up frustration, so it's beginning to show in just about everything he says. And it was hilarious. Everybody laughed. So after they do that, the women responded very well to the wine. It looked like they had a really good time. And all of these men are like great salesmen, all of them. This was a really good scene. It was funny. They gave their honest opinion about the wine, and it seemed like that they liked the wine. One woman suggested maybe he should introduce a pink wine as well into the mix. And it was just a lovely moment. And I really enjoyed it. And Martell did really good. Moving on from that. So Kimmy shows up at Black to see Letitia. And in Kimmy's confessional, she talks about how the guy's trip concerns her. So here we are where we just left the scene with the guys and the women having dinner and wine and all of that. And it's really fun and really upbeat. And now we're back to Atlanta with the wives and, it's all, doom and gloom. Everybody's worried about their husbands. And it's just really heavy with the women, but very lighthearted and funny with the men. So in Kimmy's confessional, she says that the guy's trip concerns her, but I hope this time around everybody's on their best behavior. As opposed to what? So the last time everybody was not on their best behavior, including Maurice, the most innocent one of all, the one that you feel like you don't have to worry about because he'll never do anything, wrong, or he won't do anything out of pocket. So Kimmy tells Tisha that Maurice spends most of his time shopping when he goes on vacation. I didn't see Maurice enter a store not once, but whatever, Kimmy, whatever makes you helps you sleep at night, we'll go with that. Kimmy, he likes to go shopping for half of his vacation when he is on vacation with you. When he's out on vacation with the guys, I don't think so. So I thought that was really funny. So we're back with the guys, and Martell reveals to the other guys that Tiffany and Louis have an open relationship. And when he said that, I'm telling you, Marceau's interest meter peaked so high it almost malfunctioned. Marceau was so interested in the open relationship aspect of Louis and Tiffany's marriage. I mean, he was all ears. And so Louis said, well, we're open to trying different things or something to that effect. I guess he meant what we all were thinking. I think when they said, open relationship, open to new things, I think we collectively understand exactly what he's talking about. I think we're all on the same page with that. So Marcel in his confessional says, I want to know what were the exact words that Louis used to make this all possible. He really wants to know, like, how did you explain this to your wife? How did you convince your wife to go with this option that this is going to be a good thing for y'all? Now, I feel like with Louis and Tiffany, that Tiffany probably already came into the marriage with that expectation, so I don't think Louis had to do a lot of convincing. Back to Letitia and Kimmy. So Letitia tells Kimmy that for sure the guys are going to go to a strip club, and Kimmy was like, "You think, girl? Please, what?" They're out with Martell. What do you think Martell is going to do? Take him to to go play miniature golf or something? They're out with Martell, and they all want to have a good time. Whatever. But Tisha knows how her man gets down when he's out with Martell. So Tisha already knows the what's up. So Tisha was like, "Watch. You just watch and see. They are going to go to a strip club." Martell suggests that they go to a strip club. So Tisha tells Kimmy that a lot of relationships, now Kimmy and Tisha, they're sitting down in black and they're having a very heart-to-heart, serious, doom and gloom discussion about relationships and online rumors and all this other stuff. So Tisha tells Kimmy a lot of relationships are destroyed based off of rumors. You mean rumors based in fact? Because I can't imagine a relationship or a family being destroyed based on rumors that were never substantiated. So, Tisha, I'm assuming you mean that relationships are destroyed based on the facts that are revealed once the rumors are proven to be true. So Tisha says that in the beginning, the rumors really affected her, but she's a whole lot stronger now. I can't tell. I mean, I don't know how many times you've already cried in this season alone. She's a lot stronger now, and she knows that God will definitely show her if there's anything wrong, because he knows her heart and what really goes on behind closed doors. And she has no choice but to trust Marcel. What exactly are you saying? Are you saying that no matter what God reveals to you, you have no choice but to trust your husband against what God has revealed to you? Or are you saying that when God reveals something to you, you're going to take heed to that and not trust your husband because God has revealed to you the truth? Because it seems you're contradicting yourself, Tisha. Because at the end, she says, I have no choice but to trust Marceau. Why do you not have a choice? Marceau is a human being like anybody else. He may make mistakes. He may not. Who knows? But you always have, don't take that power away from yourself, Tisha. You always have the choice to believe what you think you need to believe or what you want to believe. You always have the choice to trust or not trust the things that your husband tells you, especially when you have evidence to the contrary of what he's telling you. You always have the choice. So stop with this. I'm just going to follow my husband, to the depths of hell because he's my husband and he's my leader and whatever he says goes. And I'm just going to trust him. Stop acting like a weak-minded woman. I've always said that Letitia is a weak-minded woman. She's one of those women that puts a lot of faith and value in another human being, which happens to be her husband. You and Marceau are on the same level. Neither one is more important. Neither one is better than the other. So why you give up all your power to this man, I have no idea. Now, another telling thing, back at the mansion, when they were serving dinner, Marceau had mentioned something about the women making the plates for everybody. And someone said to Marceau, you make your own plates over here. And Marceau said, oh, okay, I'm used to my wife making my plate. That right there told me more than I needed to know. So, girl, Tisha, you're that kind of a woman where you gotta cook and clean for your man and serve him his plate. Look, I don't want to pass judgment on people's marriages and how they do their marriages and what kind of wife a woman wants to be to her husband. But I truly believe that there is no difference between the man and the woman. They're both equal. They both share in responsibilities and duties. Not one is more this whole thing of the woman has to do this and the man has to do that, and there can never be any exchange of duties or exchange of responsibilities. I don't buy that. I've always said, and I do believe, that Marceau is the kind of man that wanted a traditional woman. He wanted to have a woman to stay home, cook, clean, have his babies while he goes out, makes the money, is the provider, and he does that really well. But he's also been involved in a whole bunch of other shenanigans, and he feels like he can do that because he is the provider, because he does have that kind of wife who doesn't question him. He has that kind of wife who does exactly what she's told. She does what's expected of her, and she stays in her lane. That's the kind of wife he wanted, and that's what he got in Tisha. When Tisha wanted to go back to school and she wanted to start her own business, you saw how Marceau was really shook, and Marceau started complaining. And he couldn't come right out and tell her, look, I don't want a wife that works. I don't want an independent, free-thinking type of wife. I don't want that. He couldn't tell her that because then, he would have had a swift kick at the side of the head. So instead, what he tells her is, all of this school and working and all that stuff you got going on is taking you away from your family, and your family is priority, and your marriage should be priority. And, you're not spending enough time with us because you're always studying, or you're running off to this business event and that business event when you need to be home taking care of your family, you need to be home taking care of your husband. And so he put that fear in her that if she wasn't spending enough time at home, that he was going to go philandering, which he'll do whether she's home or not. But he did put that fear in her, because I have not heard this season, I have not heard of Tisha doing any kind of business ventures, doing any kind of speeching, because remember, she wanted to be just like Melody. I haven't heard her going to a speeching engagement, promoting any kind of product, promoting any kind of business, nothing. She's just sitting around online, looking at rumors, reading comments, and trying to figure out if her husband's cheating on her or not. Moving on. So they go to the strip club. We know what goes down over there. I don't know how much, who knows what the hell happened, but from the looks of it, from what they showed us, the guys were just there to have a good time. Martell is a single guy. He could do whatever the hell he wants. He could do every single dancer in that strip club if he wanted to. He has the right to do that. It's all good. But the guys looked to be like the other guys, the married guys. They were respectful. No one did anything crazy. Obviously, the cameras are on them, and who knows what happened when the cameras got turned off, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt until something comes up online. The next morning, they're all having breakfast. They had a really good night, and it was really good to see Marceau. For me, it was good to see Marceau and Martell back on track with their friendship. So all the guys are proud of Martell on how he's completely turned everything around. He was in the depths of hell with his divorce with Melody and the rumors and the outside baby and all of that. And now he is slowly coming out of that. He's slowly finding himself again. Someone said at the breakfast table, we're getting the old Martell back. And Marceau, because he has to be contradictory all the time, Marceau says, oh no, we're getting a new and improved Martell, not the old Martell, a new and improved Martell. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. The point is he's getting better. He's putting his life back together again. Marceau wanted to, I always feel like Marceau wants to pick at Martell, and I think he wants to pick at Martell because Marceau never wants the attention on himself. He wants the attention on someone else. That's why he threw his own brother under the bus. That's why he's always going to be picking on Martell, because he doesn't want any attention on himself. So Marceau says to Martell, what responsibility could you have taken in the breakup of your marriage marriage or something to that effect. And Marceau was like, look, I've already taken all the responsibility that I'm going to take of the breakdown of my marriage. And then in his confessional, Marceau said, and I totally agreed with him when he said this in his confessional. Marceau says that the thing about Martel is that he understands he did wrong. He knows he did wrong. What hurts Martel is that he was wronged as well. And the fact that nobody takes that into account, nobody, wants to talk about how Martel was hurt. That's what really frustrates Martel. And so he feels like anytime that he takes responsibility for his own actions, the fact that he was wronged gets completely overlooked. And that's what bothers Martel. Now, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. Did Mel cheat first? Did Martel cheat first? Who knows? We'll never know. But the issue is, the bottom line, Martel, is that you're the one that you got real sloppy with it. You got caught. You were still fooling around when you were on a national television show. You couldn't even chill for a minute when you were on TV. You were still going strong with your mistress. Your mistress got pregnant. You just got real messy with it. And that's why a lot of focus is on you. You should have kept it cute and quiet like Mel. Don't give the people anything to talk about, but you didn't do that. You were out there wilding out, and that's why you are bearing the majority of the responsibility of the breakdown of your marriage. So another thing that Marceau said that I really appreciated was they were talking about the wine. And the wine is named after Martel's grandmother, Inez. And so Marceau said, I think it's really cool, it's really dope that you wanted to name the wine after your grandmother, because a lot of the times a female's legacy is overlooked a lot of the time. So the fact that you're shining light on an important female in your life, that's really cool. And I agreed with Marceau. A lot of the times people talk about legacy, they're always talking about, legacies being passed down from male relatives, from the male relative to the next male relative. Female legacies are not talked about as much. And so I appreciate Marceau for pointing that out, and I appreciate Martel for doing that for his grandmother. So what did I write here? Okay, we already talked about that. So back to Melody. So Melody and Tiffany, they're meeting at whatever store, and Tiffany thinks and I loved Tiffany's glasses, the frames on her glasses. They're like this blue and yellow butterfly print. I loved them. Anyway, so they're talking about the trip, and Tiffany thanks Melody for joining her to Utah, for joining her on her trip to Utah. And of course, Melody was like, anytime you need me, I'm here for you. So Tiffany said that Lewis would not have been the kind of support that she needed on the trip, and that she preferred taking Melody over Lewis. That said a whole hell of a lot. So then Tiffany says that Lewis is not a starter. She's a starter. She's the one that starts things. I guess she's the go-getter. I don't know exactly what she meant. She says, he doesn't start me. I start him. But he is the calm to my storm. So she motivates him. She gets the fire going under him, I guess, and he calms her down. And she needed a starter in this particular journey of her life and finding her father. And I guess Melody was her starter. I guess that's what she was trying to say. Girl, the fact that you would even say this is beyond words to me, because if that's how you felt, keep that to yourself. Don't talk about how, I'm so glad I took my girlfriend on the trip to go find my dad instead of my own husband. The husband that you chose, the husband that you forced to marry you. Like, what is he there for then if you can't even lean on him or use him for any kind of support in the important events of your life? We got used to you wanting to take Melody with you instead of your own husband. Okay, we had to swallow that, but don't be twisting that knife even deeper in your husband's back by glorifying and praising Melody. Oh my God, I'm so glad I took you instead of him, because he wouldn't have done nothing for me. That's just not right, Tiffany. So Melody looked a little bit confused. Melody was like, okay, I'm not really trying to get too deep into that, but okay, girl, whatever. So Tiffany wants to go back again to Utah, and Melody tells her that, if you want to go back and if you need me, I'll be there for you. Tiffany says that Lewis is overly sexually needy, and which is really, they're like on completely different pages on this whole sex thing, because Tiffany says he wants it too much. She gives it to him, but it's not enough. He's never satisfied. He wants more all the time, 24 hours around the clock. Whereas Lewis is making it look like he ain't getting any at all, period. It's not like he's not getting enough. He's making it seem like he's not getting nothing. Or he's not getting anything. So I'm confused about that. Why are y'all giving us two completely different versions of the same story? So Tiffany says that Lewis does not appreciate the kind of strong woman that she is. And She says, some men are very intimidated by strong women. And Melody was like, so you feel like he's intimidated by you? And she says, well, I've never really asked him that. And Melody was like, well, ask him that. Melody, you're trying to get this woman to open up a big can of worms with her husband. She needs to go to her husband and ask her husband, does my strength, my independence, my intelligence, does that intimidate you? Okay, obviously he's going to say no. And he's going to talk about how much he appreciates the fact that she is a strong, independent woman. He's probably going to say, that's why I was attracted to you. That's why I married you, because you are a strong, independent woman. But then it's going to be in the back of his head. Now, that's going to be in the back of his head that, so Tiffany thinks I'm intimidated by her. You do what you want, Tiffany. So Tiffany tells Mel that the guys are in Atlanta, and because, Lewis constantly complains that he's not, satisfied in the romance department, Tiffany is kind of worried that he might fall into temptation. So Melody tells her, girl, don't worry about that. You're good. I don't see Lewis doing anything crazy like that. But don't put that out in the atmosphere. Do not put that out in the atmosphere, please. And I think what Melody was really trying to tell her, don't put that out there on TV that you think your husband's probably cheating on you, because the people are going to take that and they're going to run with it. So, in the words of the legendary It's Rocks, another YouTuber that I totally admire, in the words of the legendary It's Rocks, don't let these reality TV shows ruin your marriage, Tiffany. Last year, you didn't give us anything. You made it. You didn't want to share anything too personal. You and Lewis came out on this show like y'all were just a dream couple, that y'all were couples gold, that y'all were black love golds. Y'all were acting like, we just got it going on, and y'all need to take notes from us if you want to have a healthy, successful marriage. And that's the reason Marceau had to put Lewis in his place, because Marceau was like, I've been in the game, 15 plus years. You've been in the game with this woman 1 year. And the other one, who knows? But you have a track record that is dismal. I am still married to my first and only wife. So I need you to pipe down on the whole black love, we're couples goals, and all that mess. So now, this year, Tiffany's talking about all these, she chose Melody to go with her on her trip instead of her husband. Now she's saying a mouthful in this boutique, talking about, my husband he claims he's not satisfied, even though I'm giving him more than I can possibly give. He went on this damn trip, and I hope he's not fooling around with nobody because he claims he's not satisfied. So she's going on and on about the issues in their marriage, and Lewis is as well. And it's like, sometimes I'm wondering, okay, girl, last year you gave us nothing. This year you're giving us way too much. You're probably giving us things that are not even really there. Because I really don't think that Tiffany and Lewis have any issues at all, period. I think they're just trying to create drama to be on the show, or to be interesting on the show, or to secure their spot on the show. But I don't think Tiffany and Lewis are having any kind of problems like that. But whatever. Tiffany wants to make it look like there's cracks in their marriage, and what is she going to do, and so on and so forth. Girl, I just don't buy it. I really don't buy it. So, also, Tiffany, if you're trying to be close to Melody, don't try to bond over broken marriages, because Melody is divorced and now you want to bond with her by talking about all the issues you're having with your marriage. Don't try to bond over negativity. That's a friendship that is doomed for disaster. So the boys' trip, to go to a rage room to get rid of any kind of pent-up frustration. Lewis talks about his pent-up sexual frustration. He damn near took the whole building down. Marceau talks about his frustration with the internet rumors and his wife, listening to the chitter-chatter online. And definitely he's got frustration over his mother-in-law, Miss Wanda. And of course, Maurice, he's cool. So on the way back to the mansion, they're talking about, their frustrations. Marceau talks about Wanda, and he says, Wanda needs to be a place of refuge for Tisha. But instead, she's the complete opposite. She brings stress and confusion and agitation by bringing to Tisha all the stuff that she sees online. And, but the thing is, though, if the stuff isn't true, then what's the problem? The things online should only bother Tisha if they're kind of confirming her own suspicions. Moving on. Maurice, his frustration is his son Monster. He's like, he's got all this talent. He's a good looking young man. He's really smart, but he has no focus and no motivation. And he gives this example on I even got to wake him up in the morning. And the guys are looking at him like, okay, he's only 15 years old. Yes, that's normal for you to have to wake up your kid to help him get his day started. And then somebody asked, well, does he do any extracurricular activities? And he was like, yeah, he's in football, he's in track, he's in whatever, he's in a whole bunch of stuff. But I got to wake him up in the morning. Okay, Maurice, pipe the hell down. He's only 15, okay? And I think his brother told him, you're comparing Monster to the younger version of you. You were very self motivated. You were a go getter. You were cutting lawns and stuff at the age of 3, making money. You had a business plan by the time you were 5. It ain't like that with all children. So just relax. Monster's fine. Okay, he's okay. And yeah, it's okay if you have to wake your son up in the morning to help him get ready for school. It's okay. So the guys tell him, okay, whatever. So then Lewis starts talking about his frustrations again, his sexual frustrations. He just keeps on talking about that. And so he tries to downplay it. I guess when the guys were like, well, Lewis, you may have an issue there. When they responded that way, he kind of was like, oh, okay, but it's not an issue, because an issue means that you can't really solve it. But a frustration just means that I can solve it by tomorrow. And the guys were like, okay, but if you're already complaining that you're not, being intimate enough with your wife, and it's like an issue for you, or you're frustrated by it, and you've only been married 2 years, then it might be a problem. Marceau and Martel are very much in agreement with this. And they tell him, and Marceau said, okay, year 2, it's a frustration. Year 4, it's an issue. Year 5, it's a problem that you're going to have to look into. So you need to figure out exactly what's really going on. And, they were like, this does not look good at all. You should not be having these kind of issues 2 years into your marriage. How about that, Lewis? How about that? Like I said, I don't think that Lewis and Tiffany are really having any problems. I think that's why they created this whole thing of, the sexual frustration thing, because it's something they can easily solve. They want to make it look like it's a bigger deal than what it is, but I don't think it's that big of a problem. And if it is, they can easily solve it. They're just trying to be relevant. That is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I didn't expect it to be this long. Episode whatever is coming on tonight. I'm going to try to get that review out hopefully by tonight. Thank you so much for making it this far. If you have, on your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please subscribe. If you don't like it, don't worry about it, but thank you for stopping by anyway, and I'll talk to you later.